सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। I invoke the Divine Mother Lalitambika, who is the form of Prakriti, the nature, to bless all of us to have a full and complete guidance and wisdom towards this endeavor of searching for the truth, to understand the connection between science and spirituality. I wish all of you for a healthy, long, prosperous life. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers of Prajnanam, the new club formed towards science and spirituality in the Amrita Institute, and I appreciate your enthusiasm for a new and fresh subject, which will be very much helpful for the young India. And now I directly enter into the subject, understanding the connection between science and spirituality. At the outset, I would like to introduce myself. I am Swami Jagadatmananda Saraswati, the disciple of Pujya Shri Dayananda Saraswati Swamiji. We come under Arsha Vidya Sampradaya Parampara, Advaita Sampradaya Parampara. And I am a postgraduate in philosophy and a doctorate scholar from Madurai Kamaraj University. I did my PhD in Madurai Kamaraj University and awarded in 2004 October. My project title, my thesis title is Value-Based Education, the implication of value-based education. I now teach in Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, and also I teach for Yoga and Consciousness students in S. Vyasa University, Bangalore, and also I work as a visiting faculty in Avinashi Lingam Home Science University, Coimbatore. Once again, I thank one and all, and let us directly begin the subject. First of all, let us understand what is science and what is spirituality. We go with the definitions which are universal, without any prejudice. Definitions must be universal, common to all. Science is the pursuit and application of knowledge and understanding of the natural and social world, following a systematic methodology based on evidence. That is why science is called evidence-based. I have highlighted in the first definition of science, two words I have highlighted. One is systematic and another is evidence-based. So science should have an evidence which are perceivable by our sensory perceptions. Otherwise, it is not a science. Science is a verified truth. The truth should be verified by means of knowledge which are approved. So verification can be done only by means of knowledge, what we call in Sanskritam as pramana. What is a pramana? A pramana is means of knowledge. To gain a particular knowledge, we use a means like seeing, pratyaksha, directly seeing, listening, tasting, touching, smelling, I understand that something is existing. Evidentially, I understand that a tree is existing by way of applying these 5 sensory perceptions. Now you are able to perceive that Swami is in front of you online through your sensory perceptions. So for evidence, you need to use these 5 perceptions, and it has to be systematic. Whereas certain logics are used to arrive some scientifical decisions. For example, mathematics. In mathematics, logic is very important. Logic is not material, it is knowledge, philosophical, that we will discuss in forthcoming presentations. So, what is science? Science is a verified truth. Verification means verified by sensory perceptions and logic. That is why it is systematic. So science is evidence based. Now, what is spirituality? Spirituality is the commitment to inner growth which leads to self-discovery. Spirituality is a commitment by way of life and view of life. I can expand this commitment as a way of life and a view of life through inner growth. And that inner growth can be explained as maturity, intellectual maturity, intelligent maturity, intelligent growth, which leads to self-discovery, What is this self then? There is a question. What is this self? The self is nothing but consciousness. We're going to discuss all these terminologies. We are going to discuss. So, to be spiritual is a commitment towards inner growth which leads to self-discovery. What are all the scientific methodologies? The scientific methodologies are nothing but observation objectively, objective observation like measurement and data. Number 2 is evidence. About evidence already I have explained, which is inference or seeing or assuming or proving with 5 sensory perceptions. In Vedic facts, we used to say Panchapramana, Pratyaksha, which is seeing or listening, etc. Anumana, which is assumption, Anumana. Then Upamana, by way of showing an example. Then Arthapati is also Anumana. The difference between Arthapati and the Upamana is without experience you can use Arthapati, with prior experience you can use Upamana. And finally Anupalabdhi. Anupalabdhi is the pramana which comes through absence of knowledge, understanding absence of the object, the knowledge obtained, I repeat, absence of object. Absence of object is also leads to a knowledge. In that way, Panchapramanas are used. What? Evidence based. And experimental. People used to say, what is the experiment or observation for this hypothesis to become a thesis? Initially, we bring some hypothesis. Hypothesis is unverified truth. Thesis is the verified truth. When we do experiment, hypothesis becomes thesis. Number 4 is induction. Induction is reasoning to establish general rules or conclusions drawn from facts of examples. This is based on logic, induction method, then repetition. If at all I give a tablet for a particular disease, for example, a medicine was found for corona, and how they will confirm the validity of that particular vaccine, they will give for 100 people and it cures 70 people, then the vaccine is approved. It protects 70 people means the vaccine is approved. And also, repeatedly, the second sample of 100 people also should have the same percentage of recovery. Then only that vaccine is approved. So, repetition, repeatedly it should happen. Then, critical analysis. Critical analysis is also based on logical facts and verification and testing. Critical exposures to scrutiny, peer review, and assessment. That is why science is called a verified truth. These 7 methods should be applied for a scientific study. I repeat, science is evidence-based, and that evidence is based on these 7 methodologies. In English, science came from Old French meaning knowledge, learning, application, and a corpus of human knowledge. Corpus means collective human knowledge. It originally came from the Latin word scientia, which meant knowledge, knowing, expertness, or experience. So experience and experiment are important in science. So you experience something and you experiment something and you finally verify it with 7 previously explained methodologies, and finally you arrive at truth. This is what science. Faith or belief is not science. Some people say it is a religious faith because the faith cannot be verified. So it is not a science. If at all I am telling, once I went to Kailash, there I saw a spring in which hot water is flowing. People put potatoes and rice by way of tying in a cloth and they boil in no seconds. When it is dipped, rice is dipped in that hot water, it boils. You have not come to Kailash, you have not seen that hot spring, but since Swami is telling, you will believe. What kind of truth it is? It is a faith. Faith on Swami, faith on religion. So you believe that it must be there. So faith is not verified truth. Unverified truth is faith. Like God exists, heaven exists. One who does wrong things will get punished, judgment. Like this, all these things are faiths. And in the same way, if you have a definition for spirituality as faith, then it is not science. So for people think that religion or spirituality means faith or belief. Belief of God is spirituality. Belief of a papa or punya, sin, is faith, belief. This is not spirituality. If you have a definition for spirituality as faith, then it is not science. But we speak spirituality is science. Then how could it be? Now we need a definition for spirituality, and there comes the definition. Spirituality is the commitment to inner growth which leads to self-discovery. I told you already. And what is this self? Self is consciousness. Then what is consciousness? There comes a question. Self is consciousness. Then what is this consciousness? Consciousness is invariable, self-evident presence in all experiences. Sakshi, witness, which is aware of everything. And without consciousness, nothing can happen in this world. To be exist is to be in consciousness. To exist is by consciousness. To exist is by consciousness. Consciousness is invariable, self-evident, presence in all experience. Whatever you experience, you wake up in the morning and you do all your duties. You learn, you teach, you work, you earn, and finally you sleep. And you also remember that I slept. All these are by only consciousness. Now I show a hierarchy of sciences chart. You will know, by way of seeing this, you will come to understand what is consciousness. This is a scientific expression chart. So first we start with visible universe in this scale. Visible universe, which is infinite. After the Hubble telescope, after the installation of Hubble telescope in 1990s, we have understood the infinite nature of this universe. We have understood Milky Ways. We have understood, we have evidences, proofs for the existence of galaxies, planets beyond 25,000 light years. 25,000 light years beyond, there is universe, there is galaxy. And our solar system. We started from visible universe, which is infinite, and we came down to Milky Way. And in that Milky Way, our spiral universe is there. In that spiral universe, we have solar system. And this solar system, in this solar system, we have our Earth. In this Earth, human habitation is there. Man is made out of cells. And these cells are made out of Panchabhutas. Earth element, water element, fire element, and air element, and space element. This Panchabhuta Prakriya is accepted by Upanishads like Taittiriya Upanishad, etc. in spirituality, and also science accepts this existence of 5 elements. And these 5 elements make human cells, and also the material world around me. And this can be divided, this element can be divided into molecules, and molecules can be divided into atom, and this atom can be divided into particle. After particle, there are lot of unverified truths existing. So what is the last finite fundamental particle for this universe? We started with the infinite universe, and now we have landed into a particle. What is this particle made out of? And what moves this particle? What makes this particle active? We stand there. And if you divide further that particle, what will be available? Energy, quantum energy, string theory, lots of experiments are coming out. The experiment for God's boson. So there are a lot of branches of sciences like astronomy, geophysics. I request to mute your I request everyone to mute. Thank you. We have social sciences, we have physics. In social sciences, we have sociology, psychology, which are dealing with human brain. We have physics, astronomy, geoscience, which are dealing with the planets like Earth, Sun, Moon, etc. And we have life sciences. Life sciences are functional biology, like cellular biology, which are based on the cells. And we have physics, chemistry, which are dividing materials, making materials into particles, and they are doing research about material properties, chemical reactions, or particle physics, thermodynamics, etc. And formal sciences, what we call as mathematics and logic. So here it becomes subtle, you see, from the material world, slowly it has landed into formal sciences. The formal sciences, you can see mathematics and logic, for which philosophical, informal, symbolic expressions are required. You need a philosophical expression, a philosophical inquiry. You need an inquiry. You need to do the interrogation. You need to analyze. So, from a material body, we have landed into a subtle philosophical truth. This is what scale of the universe is mapped to the branches of science and hierarchy of the science. What we saw in the previous picture is scale of the science universe, scale of the universe. Visible universe, finally into particle. Scale of the universe capture the average diameters of the key. The hierarchy of the science captures major areas of study in science. The images capture the fundamental building block for scientific branch. Math is built up from binary logic. Physics is built up on atomic scale physical laws. Life science is built by cellular behavior calculated through natural selection. Social science is built on the human brain, and earth and space science begins with our own planetary bodies. So the subtle is mathematics, logic, the material is space science, etc. Now I show the secret of the universe. The universe is the combination of material and energy and consciousness. See, you take a stone. The stone is made out of these three. Just you take a stone. You can perceive it as it is existing as a material, and it has an inbuilt energy. The material is silicon dioxide, it may be calcium or magnesium, it may be, and it has an energy. You see the stone is not moving anywhere, but inside that atom, that is a movement. That is why in spirituality we call this universe as Jagat. Jagat means moving, always in move. So this Jagat has a Shakti. What is that Shakti? Energy. Now this energy is potential and it will turn into kinetic. And what is inbuilt is consciousness. Science is particular about this material and energy, and it is not aware of this consciousness, what we represent. Some modern scientists are coming out of some researches based on consciousness, but they are coming closely, but not to the way the Upanishads express about consciousness. Now, the material can be perceived, the energy can be understood, but the consciousness cannot be perceived by 5 pramanas, what I have expressed already, like Pratyaksha pramana, Anumana pramana, Upamana pramana, Arthapati Pramana or Anuplapti and Anuplapti Pramana. These 5 means are not useful to understand the consciousness. Then what is that? How to understand? That is what you have named your club as Prajnana. Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam is consciousness. Only through consciousness we can understand about the world. So, I see a tree. This seeing is manifested through the consciousness. Seeing is not consciousness, but seeing is geared by, backed by consciousness. So material, energy, consciousness, these three things are the combination of this universe. This is the secret of universe. See, this is coming and going universe, so material gets lost. Then energy lost. What remains? Consciousness. I repeat these 3 presentation slides. Material, energy, consciousness. Material gets destroyed. Material is resolved in energy. Material is reduced to energy. What you see is only energy, and energy is reduced to consciousness, and consciousness is where consciousness is available throughout, infinite, everywhere. Consciousness, all are consciousness only. I repeat, material is resolved into energy because I finally make it as a particle. After particle, I reach energy. After energy, I reach consciousness, which is already present. You are not traveling towards consciousness. Consciousness is in every atom. That is what spirituality. Spirituality says this consciousness as Ishvara, this consciousness as Atman, this consciousness as Brahman. But consciousness has to be understood. That is the target now we have to understand the connectivity between the science and spirituality. So now from consciousness, the entire universe is manifested and go on manifesting. Endlessly, it expands. Then again, it will contract. When it constricts or contracts, then again it results in consciousness. Then again it comes out. In Vedas, there are 2 khandas. One is called Karma Kanda, another is Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda is all with full of rituals, and Jnana Kanda is philosophical. In Jnana Kanda, what we read is consciousness, Atman. So that is the fundamental principle of this entire universe. This universe manifests from consciousness. Consciousness is the base for all manifestations. Consciousness exists everywhere in all manifestations. There are popular misconceptions. The wrong view is that spirituality is based on experiences. One should practice mystic sadhana and gain mystic experience. It is a faith, but it is a wrong view. The correct view is spirituality is based on means of knowledge to know the truth about oneself. That is spirituality. Spirituality should not be reduced as a tantric practice or a magical thing or a mystical sadhana. Spirituality has to be rightly understood as means of knowledge to know the truth. Now the word truth has come. I should explain what is truth also. Truth is not limited. Truth is unlimited. For example, you take time. Time is a relative truth. It is not an absolute truth because time depends upon space to its existence. For existing, time depends upon space. Time depends upon space, that is why it is a relative truth. But the truth of time doesn't depend upon anything. The truth of time doesn't depend upon anything because truth of time is not bound by time itself. This is for your contemplation. We will discuss more. The wrong view is that spirituality has to be proved scientifically. People claim that. You are talking about consciousness. Prove that consciousness exists. The correct view is that spirituality has independent means of knowledge which need not be confirmed by any other means of knowledge because it is self-evident self. If I say something I know, it is only because of consciousness. If I say something I don't know, it is also supported by consciousness. So consciousness is everywhere. If somebody is asking prove consciousness, that is also coming out of consciousness only. But science has to be proved by observation, experiment and test. Because it is all about the material. Science is all about the material. Spirituality is all about consciousness. So let us find the link between science and spirituality soon. Now, what is consciousness? Let us take another 10 minutes to read the explanation given by our respected Pujya Swamiji. The word awareness or consciousness is generally used in the sense of being well informed. So there are some people who confuse between awareness and consciousness. If somebody is fainted, they say check for his consciousness, whether he has consciousness or not. So that is awareness. Like political awareness means being informed about political affairs. Social awareness is being informed about social issues in society. Economical awareness is being aware of the financial affairs of the country. There, awareness is used in the sense of being informed. Being informed is awareness. It is a quality of mass of people of society. But here, when we use the word consciousness, it is not in the sense of being informed. In fact, the word awareness does not imply a quality, but an entity which is the reality of everything, which is making the body, mind, and sense conscious. Like a tree is a tree because of treeness. Similarly, body, etc., become conscious because of this reality, which is consciousness, and therefore it is called consciousness. Consciousness is not a quality of a thing of the body nor the mind. Consciousness is an independent reality. In science, consciousness is considered to be an epiphenomenon of the brain. It is an incidental thing happening in the brain, but does not contribute to the main process. Brain has consciousness, but consciousness is there even without brain. Consciousness can manifest through any means. This is a provisional understanding. Having this as a provisional understanding, we will go further. Science has not understood so much about consciousness. There are some intellectual approaches towards consciousness by recent modern scientists, and they reached the limit of explaining consciousness as another entity which has all collective power. Matter to energy, energy to consciousness is not the understanding we are talking about. Even though the word ness is used, which indicates a quality like richness, kindness, milkness, sweetness, etc. But here, consciousness is not a quality. It is not even part of the body, sense of the mind. That is why I told consciousness can manifest without a means like brain or body. It is not a particular happening of the body, etc. It is the true nature of me, the individual. In other words, what essentially I am is consciousness. What essentially I am is not to this limited body or mind. If I am consciousness, I am not limited to this body and mind. It is obtaining in all minds, all bodies. How many consciousness are available in this world? 700 crores people are there. How many consciousness will be there? Do you think 700 individual consciousness are there? No. Consciousness is one. Atman is one. Brahman is one. Ishvara is one. God is one. This is what the fact of spirituality. In fact, the very space in which everything is contained is containing consciousness. There is no space outside consciousness. We think we start our contemplation from earth, water, fire, air, akasha. Akasha, the space or ether accommodates everything. And what accommodates space is spirituality, consciousness. Science goes up to the space and it searches beyond space through perception, which is not possible. It is understandable cognitively, that is consciousness, because it is self-evident. Space is something I am aware of. And the illumined factor which illumines space will pervade the illumined space. Like illumined book is not outside illuminator light. I see a book. I am seeing a book. How I can see a book? Light, through light. So this book is inside the light. Consciousness is not limited by space. So everything is illumined by consciousness. So consciousness is need not to be in and out. It is beyond this in and out concepts. It is everywhere. Purnam, full and complete. Similarly, in me also contained in the same consciousness. I am someone who is aware of me. So me is also object of me consciousness. Therefore, I consciousness is not limited by me. So me wise, I am limitless, and even space wise, I am consciousness, I am limitless. Even with regard to ignorance, I am not the one who has ignorance. I am aware of both ignorance and knowledge. I cannot be called as ignorant or a knowledgeable person because I am aware of my ignorance and knowledge. I am consciousness. Therefore, I am neither ignorance nor knowledge. Once I know this, then the complex born of them goes. People are having this dissatisfied mind. I am less in this quality. I have to achieve that. I have to reach that. The fundamental human problem is dissatisfaction. Because you don't know that you are full and complete already as you are consciousness. Spirituality speaks for this full and completeness, which is you. You are Ananda. You are bliss because you are full and complete. If you are aware of what I lack, what I have. In fact, if you are frank about ignorance, people don't disrespect you. It is unnecessary fear. So, here I would like to tell some limitations of this project. When I do this project, science and spirituality, I have a lot of lack of knowledge in science. Even if you ask me to derive how E is equal to mc squared is obtained, I have to refer books. I cannot tell by myself. But I know the wholesome philosophy of consciousness, which doesn't lack anything. Truth is, I am free of knowledge of or ignorance of the intellect. I am free from knowledge, also from ignorance, because I am full and complete consciousness. It does not make any difference to me, the consciousness. I am neither Buddhi or Buddha. I am the illuminator of both of them. Consciousness illuminates Buddhi. Consciousness illuminates Buddha. Buddha means not Lord Buddha. Buddha means one who has Buddhi is called Buddha. I am not the intellect or I am not the intelligent person. My intellect, my intelligence is illumined by consciousness, and that consciousness is I am. That consciousness is I am. Spirituality is relieving the self by using Drik Drishya Viveka, the knowledge of the seen and seer. It starts by saying that there are two types of entities, self and this. Self in Sanskritam is aham. This is idam. Self is the knower. and idam is what is known. Everything you are confronting is known. If you are seeing a tree, tree is idam. You are aham. Body is also drishyam. I see this body. I pervade this body, illumine this body, but I am not limited to this body. Whatever you are able to see as idam, known, it is not you. I see a tree, the tree is not me. I see a mountain, the mountain is not me. I have built a house and that house is not me. I have bought a car, that car is not me. All are outside me. So all are idam, for which I need science. To understand aham, the self, I need consciousness, spirituality. Knowledge of the self, which is consciousness, leads to spirituality. Knowledge of the Jagat, the universe, leads to science. After completing this lecture, I go by car to my next session in my ashram. The car gets repaired. I cannot solve that issue through consciousness. I have to call a mechanic who knows the science of automobile. So there comes the problem. You should not confuse these two. Consciousness is understanding cognitively about the existence. Knowledge of the Jagat, the universe, leads to science. Knowledge of the self, which is consciousness, leads to spirituality. How to understand the connectivity between science and spirituality? Now in the 45th minute of this talk, we have reached a particular crux of this talk, connectivity. You may wonder, Swamiji, so far you spoke for this topic in a positive way or a negative way. Some people may think that Swamiji has denied science. No. There comes the understanding. Science is all about this Jagat, universe. But consciousness is understanding about this Jagat. So there must be a connectivity between science and spirituality. How to understand the connectivity between science and spirituality? The connectivity is the link which is common to spirituality and science, is the order which spirituality appreciates as Ishvara and science appreciates it as nature. Then what is this order? Order is Ishvara as far as spirituality is concerned. What is this order? Order means a set of laws which makes things the way they are. What is the definition for the word order? Order means a set of laws which makes the things the way they are. Further we will understand. I throw an object from the top floor. I throw an object. When the object falls down, it implies physical order. Gravitation. The factor which connects two situations is because of the order. I am putting down the object and it is being attracted by the earth. It is because of gravitation. Because of order, situation A is resulting in situation B. There is an order. Like situation A in the form of dropping the object is connected because the order to situation B in the form of falling on the ground. What is the order? Gravitation. That because of which things behave the way they behave is called order. How it should behave? I told the example of silicon dioxide. The silicon dioxide is programmed to be silicon dioxide. Who programmed that? How it came? This program is of consciousness. Because of consciousness, it is programmed as silicon dioxide. The material silicon dioxide has an energy and has consciousness. Consciousness never gets destroyed, but this existence of stone may get destroyed into soil. or piece of stones. Consciousness ever exists. That is what spirituality, because of order. This is the order. Order is of various kinds. We can understand physical order. Like objects fall when dropped. All the planets are moving around the sun because of physical order. Today morning 6:38 is the sunrise. Like this, all are in order 24 hours. The earth takes 24 hours to complete a full rotation order. Then physiological order. I take food, I enjoy the taste and forget what happens after swallowing the food, whether it gets converted into protein, carbohydrate, or any other pectin or anything. I don't worry about it. After drinking milk, I forget about milk, but it is converted as pectin and assimilated in me as protein. This is physiological order. Psychological order. If I have a particular background, I will behave in a particular way. I am a Swami, I behave like a Swami. If I am hurt repeatedly, I have a tendency to hurt others. There comes the spirituality. If I have been exploited, then I will not be able to trust others. There comes spirituality. See, what is hurt is your mind, it is not your consciousness. A spiritual person can understand that if I am hurt, my mind is hurt. If I am physically hurt, my body is hurt, not hurt of consciousness. Consciousness never gets hurt. This is the psychological order. Epistemological order. I am able to speak. That also is in order. And that you can hear. That also is in order. And because of the words heard, understanding takes place. That is also because of order. These are all epistemological order based on knowledge. Now we have appreciated the science connects with spirituality in this way of order. We understand Ishvara, God, by this understanding of order, because God is order. God is not an individual person sitting somewhere and ruling this world. God is understood as the form of consciousness. God has to be understood. That is why Pujya Swamiji used to say, don't ask where is God, who is God, how many gods are there, but understand what is God. How to understand what is God? God is consciousness. Consciousness is the force behind all materials which are analyzed by science. So spirituality is the back force of science. Another way of appreciating Ishvara or God, Ishvara is the nature of existence, Sat Brahma. The book is, the mind is, the clock is verb we are using. Existence is, which is common everywhere, is in an expression, is an expression of Ishvara. So I appreciate that all pervasiveness of Ishvara as existence. For that, you don't require a particular place, me, or object. Wherever you are, you can appreciate Ishvara as existence. I exist. That is how I appreciate Ishvara, which is the material and maker, as all pervasive. Existence precedes. The question is, whenever I appreciate existence, it is always with some name and form. The problem. What is the problem? I cannot understand the existence merely. Only I can understand the existence through some name and form. Apple is existing. Watch is existing. Computer is existing. But I don't understand the existence. What existed, I understand. But I don't understand what is existence. Existence is spirituality. What exists is science. I say book is. I say car is, etc. So I appreciate existence with the name book and form book, the name car and the form car. Existence always seems to be with some rupa, rasa, gandha, etc. With perception only exist. What exists can be understood, but existence can be understood cognitively. I, the consciousness, is the truth of everything. Nothing is away from me. Therefore, there is no sense of limitation. In the vision of wholeness, my sense of limitation is resolved. wholeness. I'm not the individual. I am the whole. I am the entire universe. So that I expand myself as consciousness. I'm completely acceptable to myself because nothing is lacking in me. I am limitless existence consciousness. This understanding is brought by spirituality. Let us understand that existence consciousness, which manifests through nature, is the connection between science and spirituality. This is the climax. I have come to the conclusion of the session in this 50th minute. Let us understand that existence consciousness, which manifests through nature, is the connection between science and spirituality. Science should understand something beyond the sensory perception is nothing but existence consciousness, and it is full and complete. What we do research is all about material which are manifested from consciousness. As I told earlier, I repeat again, I see a car. I can say this is a car. What I understand by way of saying this is a car, I appreciate the existence of car as it exists. But I don't remember behind this car there is existence consciousness. Science has limitation of evidence. Even the car is not seen by me, existence is there, consciousness is there. Spirituality is liberated as it is self-evident. There is no need to prove that I exist. You may ask, prove that God exists, but you will not ask me, Swamiji, you prove me that I am existing. The problem of existing is a long discussed concept in philosophy. Even Descartes said once by his famous philosophy called I think, therefore I exist. Descartes said, I think, therefore I exist. But our Vedas, our spirituality says existence precedes. That is why you are able to think. All limited objects are depending upon consciousness, whereas consciousness is ever independent and it is limited. It is ever independent and it is limited. With this, I conclude this session. And before this conclusion, I would like to summarize certain things in a brief way. What we discussed is, first we defined what is science. Science is verified truth. Science needs material to work upon. But when it goes beyond material, I started from the infinite universe and came down to Milky Way, came down to our spiral galaxy, came down to solar system, came down to Mother Earth, came down to human existence and the objective existence around me, objects, subject and object relationship. And when I understand that I am consciousness, spirituality begins. Up to that, science can work upon. And science, if science expects material proof for consciousness existence, it is not possible. As I understand 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, philosophically, I should understand that here 1 plus 1 is equal to 1 in spirituality. Because of this understanding, the whole world goes into harmony. No envy, no hatredness. I regard to Ishvara as existence. I appreciate existence and consciousness in everything. So there is no controversy. This should be the full and complete science in future. I can call this way of understanding of consciousness through spirituality can be named in future. There is no need of two words like science and spirituality. It can be called as full and complete science. Spirituality is full and complete science. Thank you for joining with me in this beautiful morning. Now this session is open for questions. I request the participants to share your views. How do you understand and what is your doubt? Now this session is open for discussion.
Namah Shivaya, students. If you have questions, you may please ask Swamiji.
Namah Shivaya, Swami.
Namah Shivaya.
This is
Yes.
Chanikya from Mechanical.
Yes.
We hear the number 108 very frequently. Like the distance between the sun and earth is 100 times the diameter of the sun, and the distance between moon and earth is 100 times the diameter of moon. And Adiyogi given 108 ways to attain higher consciousness. Does 108 really have some connection between the existence of world, I mean the universe, and or it's just
It's a
coincidence?
yes, very good question. Thank you for asking such question. And the relevance of 108. Recently, we discussed about order. 108 is an order because if you see the number 108, 1 is the minimum number, 8 is the maximum number, 0 is null and void. And this 1 and 8 emerge from this 0. So it cannot be null and void. It is potential. So it is the universe exists before manifestation and the universe exists after manifestation. Universe exists before manifestation is 0. Universe existing after manifestation is 108. Again this 8 and 1 will resolve in 0. And after that again it will emerge from 1, it will emerge from 0. 0 is not absolute 0. 0 is the status of potential energy before manifestation. So to explain this, the minimum 1 and the maximum 8 and which are resolved in 0, we use 108 in spirituality. This is the significance of spirituality. Srishti Rahasya, the secret of creation.
Thank you, Swami. I have
Yes, please.
recently I have heard about Akashic records, and many scientists claims that if we get access to those, and will be knowing the existence of universe, like from the Big Bang to present. And many of them claims that only a living brain can get access to Akashic records by matching the frequency. Can I know
Yes.
your opinion about that?
Yes, yes. This is also comes under order, no? Everything is order. Um, you can predict everything if you are based on the concept of order. So there can be Akashic records. There are Akashic records because everything is predetermined, well programmed, and that can be understood through our intelligence. So what I am talking about is not about intelligence, the consciousness which is the base for intelligence. So we go beyond Akashic records. Let us go beyond Akashic records. Let there be Akashic records. We need not be bound of that. It goes beyond that. Our talk, our contemplation today, what we discuss in spirituality is going behind this intelligence. Akashic records can be brought into the frame of science. Yes?
Yeah. Om Namah Shivaya, Swamiji.
Om Namah Shivaya.
There is a question there. Suraj has asked. I would like to ask your thought about nihilism, specifically optimistic nihilism. So this is a question he has asked.
Yes, nihilism is something what we say nothing. So nothing. If a person says nothing, the person exists. So nothing is supported by consciousness, and the concept of nothingness is supported by consciousness and existence. So there is no absolute possibility for nihilism. Nihilism is a philosophy, but we need not take it for granted Because if I say nothing, I am there. To say it is nothing. So existence consciousness precedes. So we say everything, Purnam. So nihilism can be countered and replaced by the philosophy of full and completeness, which we call Purnatvam, Amritatvam, which has no birth, no death. Yes.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Any questions? You can write your questions to me also, Swami Jagadatmananda at gmail.com. You can write questions to me and I will answer for your questions. If you are not ready to put the questions now, I will also upload this presentation. You can go through later also.
Any
Prakash,
more
shall I
questions?
conclude?
Any
Any
more
more
questions?
questions? Conclude?
Swamiji, I'll just ask one, Swamiji.
Yes, please, please.
Students, does anybody have questions, or we will ask Swamiji, I think you may conclude. Swamiji, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you for joining
Namah Shivaya.
today. I think this topic may be a little heavy for your understanding. Go through the topic what I have given again and again, students. Please go through this topic and try to understand what is consciousness we are talking about. And I'm happy to be with you in this morning. And I thank professors, participants, students for joining with me in this thought-provoking session. And thank you. Meet you again. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Yeah.
Swamiji,
Namah
please
Shivaya.
remain.
Please, Swamiji. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
I remain.
Prakash sir, please go ahead.
yeah. So, Namah Shivaya to all. And it is one of the, like, I've asked him, requested him to give a speech. He accepted it. And thank you, Swamiji. And thanks for each and everyone who gave permission for the speech, like principal sir, director sir, and every professors and students who cooperated with me. And Swamiji is usually known for his talk, speech, or inspire student in Vedanta and Vedantic knowledge. And I didn't introduce him at starting due to some problem. So I will just give a small introduction and we'll conclude this. So Swami Jagadatmananda Saraswati, born in 1961 and devoted to Pujya Swami Dayananda Saraswati. And he was ordained to sannyasa at 1999 by Arshavidya Parampara. And he has also studied MA, MPhil, and PhD degree in philosophy, awarded by Madurai Kamaraja University. And Swamiji also is a founder of Sri Lalitambika Trust in 1997. He built Sri Lalitambika Temple at 2000, inaugurated by Swami Pujya Swamiji. And his research topic, basically in his PhD, was philosophy of value education. And written 5 books on astrology in Tamil and Vedic astrology in English also. Like with the reference of Parashara Paura Shastra. And also served honorary dean of SVyasa as a teacher. So I conclude this section with heartfelt thanks from Amrita Vishwavidya Pritam. And thank you very much, Swamiji.
Dhanyawad.
Swamiji, a request. I think I request our principal to share his thoughts.
Yes.
Sir?
Namaskar.
Namah Shivaya, sir. Humble pranam.
Humble pranams to Swami. We are greatly indebted to you for sharing this universal wisdom with all of us. It's the search for the ultimate truth that every one who has taken birth sometime in the life uh, uh, has this inquiry, deep inquiry to search for the ultimate truth. And thanks for taking us through this wonderful journey. It was indeed a very mind captivating lecture with a lot of sparks ignited in the minds. I'm sure the only way to really understand you, Lakshmi Swami, is for us to explore or implore deep within and understand for oneself. So it has been very thought-provoking and very, I would say, conscious awakening session. And humble pranams to you for greatly accepting this invitation and sharing this wisdom, the ultimate truth, wisdom of the ultimate truth with all of us. For me, just if I can summarize in 2 minutes, in my understanding, science is a small subset of spirituality. Spirituality is the ultimate truth, and science is a limited truth. And the scientific reason for me to believe that is in the infinite energy spectrum. The realm of today's science is limited to a very, very narrow spectrum of the infinite energy band. And therefore, what we can understand or perceive through the limitations of today's science is limited knowledge. Thanks, Swamiji, for such a masterly deliberation and really awakening our minds. And I'm sure our children have, all of us who attended this, have greatly benefited. We'll continue to interact with you and seek your blessings. Thank you. Namaskar, Swami.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar. Swamiji, may I ask a question if you don't mind?
Yes, please. I have time.
Yes. Now there is this, we are torn between, reality and this consciousness. And I correct me if I'm wrong. I think it is in Bhajagovindam that Adi Shankara has mentioned that, ultimately when we die, it's not grammar or anything that is going to come with us. So, I mean, I'm kind of torn between, knowing that all this learning, all this knowledge or nothing, this is not the ultimate. Why are we still in this path? Why shouldn't we go to the, ultimate realization or something like that? But on the other hand, also we hear, Krishna expounding in Bhagavad Gita saying that, duty is worship. So I'm kind of torn between this, Swamiji, if you can help.
Very good. Thank you for asking such a good question. The Dukranj Karane reference from Bhajagovindam is usually people used to ask us during satsanga because it is not denying the grammar. Dukranj Karane is a particular kana in Sanskrita Vyakarana. Adi Shankara doesn't deny Vyakarana as it is only Vedanga. Vyakarana is one of the Vedanga. In knowledge, there are two branches. One is, as Mundaka Upanishad says, Paravidya and Aparavidya. Aparavidya is all this Vyakarana, Jyotisha, Vanashastra, physics, chemistry, biology. All these are Aparavidya, which are essential for our worldly life, which are essential. And Aparavidya cannot help us to understand the Param. What is Param? Param is limitless. What is this Apara? Limited. So to understand the limited world, we need Paravidya, like Dukranj Karane, Vyakarana, or any E is equal to MC squared. We need to understand this matter and energy, which are limited. And what is beyond energy, we have to understand consciousness. For that, we need to know the spirituality. We need to know what is Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi Mahavakyas. We need to study and understand. Madam is asking a question. Why do you give all this Aparavidya first, Karma Yoga first, and then you take us to Jnana Yoga? Why we should not go directly to Jnana? That is not possible, because we are existing in this material world with this physical body, so we have to undergo karma. That is why Vedas give importance for doing karma. Karma means the duty. Only through duty you can get Chitta Shuddhi. When you understand the karma as Karma Yoga, what is the difference between karma and Karma Yoga? Doing the duty for selfish reason is karma. Doing the duty for the divine sake as Ishvara Arpanam is Karma Yoga. And accepting the result, expecting the result for selfish reason is karma. Accepting the results as Ishvara Prasada is Karma Yoga. So once you do this Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, you become eligible for understanding the concept of consciousness. Directly we cannot understand Atman. Directly we cannot understand Brahman without going through all the hurdles of human life. So we first to complete our duty in a perfect way as yoga, and then we go to jnana. So that is the usual methodology given by Shastra. So that is the reason we give importance for doing duty, to lead a value-based life, etc. Dharma. Then from dharma we go to jnana. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yes, now I think it's the time to conclude. Thank you for the overwhelming response by everyone. And I thank Prakashji for linking me with Amrita Institute. I wish all the participant students to have a great life ahead, wisdomful years ahead, and let us have the courage to face all challenges of our human life, and let this human life be a great contribution to Ishvara. With the grace of Ishvara and Guru, we can achieve everything what we want. All the best to one and all. Thank you. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you,
Namaskar.
Swamiji.
Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Namashivaya Nitya, please.
Sir, Swamiji, I would like to dedicate the vote of thanks to you.
Okay, I remain.
I'd like to convey my heartfelt thanks to our respected Swamiji for enlightening us about such crucial points with respect to science and spirituality, which youngsters like us fail to see. We've learned about hierarchy of science, scale of the universe, truth of time, and many other new things today. You have inspired us all with your exquisite knowledge. Every point was an eye-opener, sir. We truly felt enthralled listening to you, your words about the universe and its three constituents, secrets of the universe, and how faith and belief cannot be termed as science has indeed brought in a sense of realization to all of us. Thank you for your exemplary explanation about consciousness as well. And also thank you for tirelessly answering all the doubts, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to Director Sir, Principal Sir, and Chairperson Sir for their constant encouragement and support. I wish to thank Vinita Ma'am and Prakash Sir for their guidance and motivation. Thanks a lot to each and everyone who has contributed towards the success of today's Prajnanam session. I would also like to thank all the professors and non-teaching staff for their enormous cooperation. My thanks are also due to all the students. Hope you all have a great day. Namah Shivaya.
I wish Pragyanam to make more and more achievements in future. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swamiji.
See you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Namaskar.
Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nitya.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone who have come here and supported. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir.
Sincere thanks to all faculty, students, everybody present here. Thank you. Students, there are going to be links that will be shared with you. They already might have been shared with you by your class advisors. So please join. There is going to be photo caption contest, and then there will be media also. Media Club is hosting 2 events. So do join the links. Today, between 11 and 11:30 a.m. is the photo caption contest. Ms. Kavita will be conducting that. And Ashvika ma'am would have shared the link for the Media Club events. So please do participate in large numbers. These are being held for you students. Okay, and do join in the afternoon before 2. We are going to have a wonderful session on nuclear power generation. So India is one among the foremost countries in the world. So please do join for that session also. Actually, only 350 students could join this. We'll see how we can increase the limit. Okay. Namah Shivaya. Thank you all.
Namaskar. Thank you.
Thank you. Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, everybody.
Namah Shivaya, ma'am.
Namah Shivaya, ma'am.
Namah Shivaya. Thank you, Jayakumar sir, for being here. And all the faculty who have supported us. And students, your participation matters a lot. Thank you.